Welcome back to another first impression, this time for the anime Cat's Eye 2025. Synopsis from any list. A new adaptation of the manga of the same name by Tsukasa Hojo. Cat's Eye is a secretive trio of art thieves relentlessly pursued by Detective Toshio. Unbeknownst to him, the middle sister of the elusive thieves is none other than his girlfriend Hitomi. Now we have Hitomi, the woman in the middle, Toshio, the guy on the bottom left, so you have a visual. And this seems to be a new animation for an old series. I believe it already had an animation 10-20 years ago, and they, try to revive this series. The main part of the story is that we have these three sisters and they steal art, different pieces of art, pictures, not artifacts, but jewelry or some kind of pottery, whatever you would see in a museum, they would steal. Now we do find out why in episode 2, because their dad was going out getting milk and never came back. Why, we don't really know. We only know he disappeared and they want to, find him. So they want to get all the different arts that their father had in their collection and their father produced, to then potentially get him to get close to the trio, because they have all their stuff. Maybe he wants to see who has all his stuff and he comes there. Some way they want to find him by stealing the stuff. Now so far, fine. I guess fine. We do see them stealing a bunch of stuff, trying to be creative. There is some creative ideas. The problem is the show, this one that it is based on, is pretty old. So what was fresh at the time, in today's time, not that fresh, not that out there. Especially we have the Case Files, Detective Conan, that one has like 1,000 episodes. You got everything in there because they have so many episodes. For me, this show does not hit that well. I do like the art style. The art style is very nice. Look at it. It has that old feel somehow. It is very nicely, to look at. The animation, I have to say, it's meh. Some of the scenes are they do try to use some 3D. It does not look, it looks fine. You can clearly see that they are not that used to using 3D. It is not horrible by any means, but you can clearly see that, they need a little bit more time for these 3D scenes. Some of them. Naturally, most of the show is in 2D, and that is fine. There's not a lot of action, but especially in the first episode, there was one little scene which could have looked fine, but looked off somehow. It looked a little bit off. I don't know why, but this is just what what it felt like. Now, we do find out that one of the main detectives that is on the case of finding or catching these cat's eyes is Detective Toshio, whose girlfriend is Hitomi, one of the cat's eyes. I mean, sure, fine. There were some problems because most of the show is them stealing items and all the stuff around the theft itself. Meaning that part has to be really interesting, really nicely done. There were multiple parts which were like, why? There was one part where they Cat's Eye, the trio, they released smoke grenades inside the building, and the police that was there decided, hey, we need to open the door because we need to let out the smoke so that these burglars can leave the building for some reason. Very strange. Very, very strange. There was another part where they had the problem that there was only one entrance and exit to the area where they wanted to steal the stuff, even though they could have stolen it before getting there. But even if it was necessary to steal it there, the whole area was surrounded by water. They could have just taken a boat and just used the boat to escape, but no. It only has one entrance and exit. We can't use anything else, which is like, Again, this is based on an old manga, meaning at the time, stuff was not thought as much, and, it was more acceptable to have some, some of these holes in the story so you can use them for storytelling, whatever. It just did not resonate me. I did not find how they stole the stuff all that interesting. There was another part where they needed to get into a vault and they tried to convince everyone that someone got into the vault, which is okay, fine. I can see that happening. However, there's only like 2 or 3 people that can get into the vault, and they should have known if they open the vault this day or not. Because if they did not open the vault, no one can go and get inside. Even if you hear or do or whatever, it can't happen. So stuff happens because it has to happen, instead of having a solid foundation, which makes these kinds of shows not as good, because it's mostly about the thieving stuff. We do have some relationship, and if it was mostly relationship with thieving on the side, okay, but the first 3 episodes are mostly that, and it is not good enough, in my opinion, what they have delivered, which is sad, because there is some stuff that could be interesting. I do like the dynamic of the 3 sisters. We have one who is more or less the brawn, one who is the brain, and one is who's like the high-tech part of the trio. So everyone has their little roles, and you can, you can do stuff with that. However, I don't feel like it is doing it that well. Now, this is a Disney Plus, so I'm probably going to not be able to show this, but I am going to try to show you a little bit of the show. There we go. There's not a lot of action, so not a lot we can or I can show there. But I just wanted to show a little bit of the art style, so you have a better idea what it looks like. Ratings wise, we have any list giving it 56 to 60%. My anime list 6.55. Not a lot of votes, so you have to be careful about low number of ratings. I would say I am not a fan of the show, so I'm giving it a 6 out of 10. I feel like it is meh. There were just too many problems with the actual thieving part to be enjoyable. I am assuming it is because the source material is so old, and since then we have gotten a lot more interesting thieving shows, that this one I feel like is not good enough.